not gonna lie, I feel pretty victorious right now. I'm driving out of the Arctic, finally heading south after what feels like so long up here in the Arctic. It's a little bit slower drive back. I've already slowed down 10 or 15 miles an hour slower than my way up because of how much snow I've gotten and so much snow that's on the road since I've got up here. I've got that nice warm car heater going that's warming me up. My arms are so tired, I'm having a hard time holding this phone right now so I can take this video. I've got about 82 miles or an hour and a half roughly to get to Coldfoot, Alaska, where I can fill back up on gas. I used my emergency gas to make sure that I would have enough gas to get all the way there. I drove a lot further than I needed to as far as hunting goes because I didn't know where I was supposed to be going. And I drove all the way up to Prudhoe Bay. In the future, I won't need to drive that far to do any hunts up here for me personally. And that's not to say that there's not hunting the entirety of the Dalton Highway as long as you meet the bow requirements and bow hunt off the road, or get the 5 miles off the Dalton Highway to hunt with the rifle. I called my wife, which was really, really nice. She's really been awesome and supportive this whole trip. There were some really highs and some really lows. Right now I'm kind of riding a high. The lows were really tough, and she was always there to send me good vibes and good luck. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to do another update. Camp was actually really fast to pack up. I will say part of it is not going to be fun on the back end. I just kind of threw everything in the car. But I had a good excuse for at least the tent that I just kind of like rolled it up and chucked it in the car. The zipper for the tent bag broke when I got here actually. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a good excuse not to make it fit back in there. As far as a overall gear reliability, how well things held up, I wanted to say a few things. A zipper on my fleece pants broke. I opened them up to be able to vent some when I was up hiking yesterday, and those broke. My boots definitely got wet on the inside each day, regardless of my snow boots or if I was wearing my old work boots that are kind of my hiking, hunting boots now. Let's see. The sleeping bags held up wonderfully. Oh my God, those were amazing. The sleeping bag liner that I put in there, I think definitely helped a bunch. The cot that I had, I know it sounds like really luxurious to camp and sleep on a cot if you're, the kind of person that just likes to sleep on the ground or the inside of the tent. The ground was frozen and it was very cold, and I knew that a lot of the cold from the ground could leach up while I was sleeping in through the sleeping bag. So I wanted to get off the ground, and to make it more comfortable, I brought 2 sleeping bags because I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I used the second sleeping bag as kind of a mattress, and then the second sleeping bag liner I left rolled up and used as a pillow. So I would definitely say that the sleeping bag worked really well. The tent did pretty well, I would say. I'd say that tent is more designed for warm weather and more rain. When I was setting it up, I felt like the rain fly was 60% of setting up the tent. And the angle that the tent door is and everything, it's really kind of designed to keep rain out of it. And it actually collected a lot of snow on top of it. The snow didn't fall off of it. It wasn't designed in such a way that the snow was gonna come off of it. So when I woke up this morning, I had to kick a few inches of snow off of it, and the door, like the doorway that the tent has, was starting to accumulate a lot of snow, and there was no way for it to go anywhere. So I had to go and scoop all that off just to alleviate some of the weight. My rifle shockingly did amazingly the whole time. I really thought that I had messed up by not having something to wrap it up in, and when I would touch the stainless steel part of it, I mean, it was just icy cold. So I'm really amazed at my rifle, and the Glock. The Glock actually held up too. My 10 mil pistol held up, still fired in the cold. Although I will give this much more credit because to my rifle over my pistol, because I had my pistol strapped to my chest almost the entirety of the whole trip. So at least it had that much more warmth coming from me for that. The Camelback that I had did a pretty okay job keeping water from freezing. It is one that originally I had thought was just for keeping the water cool, because I've lived in really hot places and deployed to hot places before. But I think that insulating material that's on the outside of it, as well as on the tube itself that leads to the mouthpiece, I think actually helped keeping it from freezing too often, although it did freeze a couple times when I was out there. But it was, you know, down into the 20s and everything, so it can kind of be expected at some point. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I think that overall my gear held up really well. I was planning on temperatures of between 30 and 50 degrees, and so to still have the gear be good, even all the way down into the teens and 20s, that's a win. That's a win, definitely. A lot of the clothes and things that I wore, where I was able to keep mostly dry except for my own sweat, because of my Gore-Tex that I wore as like a top layer. The big jacket that I have, big Apex heavy jacket that I have, kept me warm yesterday when it was really cold. The sled that I have actually held up really well. I think I might have cracked it because I had a hard time controlling it on the downward parts of slopes and things, because it's a sled. And the kid in me wanted to hop in and just ride it down, but there was a really big set of antlers. Oh, and on a petty note, when I went by the other campers' camp and kind of compared my caribou's antlers to their caribou's antlers, mine was at least twice the size of theirs. So that's kind of a little petty note, like, well, I got a bigger one. Yeah, so overall the gear held up really well. Now I'm ready to go home. I'm gonna drive to Coldfoot, and right now I'm driving through avalanche area, so I'm actually gonna stop recording because I need to focus on what I'm doing. You can probably tell that I'm more distracted in this video than I have been in previous ones. So wish me luck, and hopefully I'll be able to call my wife again in Coldfoot.